Welcome back. Let's pick up where we left off last time. We were talking about the central fact of economics 4 different ways. And if you've got them memorized by now, you can know we can say it in 2 words, scarcity exists. 1 word, Tanstaffel. In terms of price, nothing has a zero price. And the longest way we can say that dismal thing, according to Thomas Carlyle, is that you cannot have all you want of everything you would like. Now, at least from courses that I teach, you are required to understand the concepts and understand the ideas that are presented, but that doesn't mean you have to believe it. Whether you believe anything or not is totally up to you. As long as you can feed back what Thomas Carlyle said, or what Adam Smith believed, or the illustration that he used, the metaphor of the invisible hand and what it meant, and he was really referring to the price mechanism. That's what comes out of freedom of people to trade. Comes a price, which we'll talk a lot about later. That metaphor, as long as you can say what they believed, you get a good grade in the course, but you don't have to believe any of that stuff. You only have to know it for academic purposes. But I have a question for you. Of these central facts of economics, grade doesn't hinge on it, doesn't really matter in terms of an academic perspective, but from a personal perspective, I thought, do you believe it's true? Do you really believe that scarcity exists? Nothing has a zero price. There ain't no such thing as a free lunch. You cannot have all you want of everything you would like. Do you actually believe that? And I wish we could have a class discussion on this, pros and cons. Some students would say yes. Other students would say, well, no, I don't think so. I remember seeing a hobo once panhandling, and somebody threw a $20 bill into his hat. And see, there's an illustration of a free lunch. That just really didn't cost him. Now, when we make these statements the way we did, those are called universal statements. Universal statements. When we make a universal statement, we only have to find one exception to the rule to make the whole statement wrong. Think of yourself being at the dock, at a court, in a court setting, and the prosecuting attorney is trying to get you to change your story or to flub up or to discount your story, and he would ask you normal things like, what's your name, how old are you, where do you live, how do you know the defendant, or whatever. But he will try, or she will probably try to ask you something about yourself that you feel uncomfortable about. And the whole reason they want to ask you something that you feel uncomfortable about is maybe we can get you just to hedge on the truth a little bit, because you don't really want to confess to something under oath that might be a little bit personally embarrassing. And I don't want to really go into examples here, especially when I'm on video here, but if that prosecuting attorney can get you to fib just a little bit, then he's accomplished his goal. She's accomplished her goal. Because once you've said one mistruth, one lie, then everything that you have said is now worth nothing. It has no truth value at all, because now we know that you are a liar, because we caught you saying how many? One lie. It's the same way with these 4 statements here. There is no such thing as a free lunch. Ain't no such thing as a free lunch. You cannot have all. We only have to find one illustration where it's not true. And did we find one with the hobo who got a $20 bill in his hat and now he gets to eat for free? Let me use another illustration. I wasn't there. You were there, but you probably don't remember. But there probably was a time in your life when you were only yay big. Cute, soft, cuddly. And as every little baby, you have input and you have output. And that output can be a bit stinky. And it's one of those duties that moms do because moms love their little cute little babies, but it's not necessarily an enjoyable task. But it gets done, and if it doesn't get done, the baby feels awfully uncomfortable, and life is not very grand or fun, and the little child's going to make life tough for everybody. Now, since that's an uncomfortable duty of changing the diapers, and there are diaper changing stations in men's restrooms as well as ladies' restrooms, because men do that task as well, but predominantly it tends to be the moms. Did you get that service? Did your mother change your diapers when you were yay so big? And did it make your life better? Were you happy here at Little Chucker because of that? Obviously so. Now my question is, how much did you pay Mom for that diaper service? It was definitely a service to you. How much did you pay her? Well, you ingrate. Obviously, you just want to get a free lunch or a free diaper service as it is. Is that an illustration of a free economic good? I would say, no, those are not free goods, because that hobo didn't have to pay for that lunch, but somebody did. And moms don't normally just look forward to having kids so that they can change diapers, but they do it anyway. If the next door neighbor lady comes over and says, I heard you had a little baby here, could I please just change the diapers from the little cute little guy because it's just so much fun? Well, then we might be talking about something else, but we're talking about something that Mom would really like to go out to lunch with all the ladies. She'd really like to watch a soap opera. She'd really like to do something other than change diapers, but she does that. And it's not a free service. Even though you and I didn't get charged, she had to give up something. She had to pay for that service. Let me give the most extreme example I can think of a free good. And that would be my hypothetical Garden of Eden scenario. You probably remember the story from your Sunday school, Bible lessons, movies, whatever, of this place called the Garden of Eden. And there was this first guy named, Adam, and that other lady, Eve, very good, Eve. And they were in this garden. They weren't in a wilderness. They were in a garden. And they were said, here, have the place, enjoy the place, have a great time, expand the garden, and there were trees there, and they could eat everything they wanted to eat, as I remember the story from my Sunday school lessons. And the question is, well, if they stood by one tree, are they ever going to run out of anything to eat if they only stand right here, even though there are about 300,000 other acres out there full of all these other trees and different kind of fruits? Even if they only had one tree, are they ever going to run out of fruit to eat on one tree? No. And they got thousands and thousands of other trees. But oh yes, there's that one tree over there that the owner of the place says, that one's special to me, and just kind of keep your mitts off that and don't eat off that one because that one's special. Now, you all know the story. The whole world was not quite enough. I got to have every piece of the whole world. And they didn't really choose to respect private property. And so things turned out very badly, got kicked out of the garden, and a lot of bad consequences come from that very first story in that book, the Bible. But I want to change the story a minute. I want to think about the possibility that Adam and Eve were actually respectful of private property, and that they had no desire to eat from that one tree. Fact is, they were very happy with being the recipient of all these hundreds of thousands of trees over here. And so out of respect for the owner of the place, they didn't want to eat that tree. Now, I know I'm changing the story, but there's a reason I'm changing the story. Now, under that scenario, where Adam and Eve would have never eaten from that one tree that they were told was verboten, keep your hands off of it, don't eat it. Under that scenario, would we have a scientific basis for the study of economics as we have previously defined it? So by way of review here, What definition did we give for economics? I'll tell it to you. You don't have to go back and look at it. It was 4 words long, and you got to get them in order. We said that economics was human action under scarcity. And so if they weren't kicked out of the garden, if they didn't have to eat by the sweat of the brow, if they could just reach up and pick off as much as they want and have a nice life, would we have a scientific basis for the study of economics as we have defined it in my hypothetical Garden of Eden? Would there be scarcity? Now I'm running up to my time limit here, so I want to hold that question and pick up that question. You think about it. If Adam and Eve were never kicked out of the garden, according to that story in the biblical account, and obviously I'm changing the biblical account of the story, would there be a scientific basis for the study of economics as we have defined it? Let's pick up with that question next time.